On gotquestions.org, Christian apologists try to explain the passages in which Jesus makes certain predictions that seem not to have come true. In these passages, Jesus seems to be saying that his prophecies will occur within the lifetimes of the people to whom he is speaking. It says, question, what did Jesus mean when he said, this generation will not pass? Answer, this quote of Jesus in regards to the end times is found in Matthew 24:34, Mark 13:30, and Luke 21:32. Jesus said, truly I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place. The things that Jesus had been speaking of, the rise of the Antichrist, the desolation of the holy place, and the darkening of the sun, did not happen during the lifespan of the people alive in Jesus' day. Obviously, Jesus meant something different when he spoke of this generation. One interpretation you could have of this passage is that Jesus meant something different, but I think a simpler explanation is that he was just wrong. They continue, the generation that Jesus speaks of not passing until he returns is a future generation, namely the people living when the predicted events occur. Jesus' point in his statement, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place, is that the events of the end times will happen quickly. Once the signs of the end begin to be observed, the end is well on the way. The second coming and the judgment will occur within that last generation. They point to a number of passages they believe support this interpretation, but they conveniently leave out Mark chapter 9 verse 1. That passage is another restatement of the same prophecy, but it's worded quite differently. Instead of saying, truly I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place, it says, truly I say to you, there are some standing here who will not taste death until they see the kingdom of God after it has come with power. Here, Jesus is clearly not talking about a future generation. In fact, Christians of the first century were very confused by this. They expected to see the second coming of Christ and the coming of the kingdom of God and all that jazz before the contemporaries of Jesus all died off. Many current scholars think that the coming of the kingdom of God does not refer to some future apocalyptic event. However, as the New Testament scholar E.P. Sanders says, the fact that this expectation was difficult for Christians in the first century helps prove that Jesus held it himself. There have been many attempts at hermeneutic damage control after the first generation of Christians died out. Some say that generation really means race. Some say that generation refers to a period of several millennia. Some say that the coming of the kingdom of God doesn't refer to the end times, but rather Jesus' crucifixion. All of these are less parsimonious interpretations than the most obvious one. Jesus was simply wrong.